that shenanigans. Well, good evening, everybody. And exactly the minute I want to go live, my cameras start fucking up again. Right, let's try this again.
I can hear you.
There we go. Audio's good. Well, good evening, everybody. Wow. What a strange couple of days, isn't it? Tech blowing up everywhere and shit. Oh, hello.
You've gone live.
Did I get an alert to say I've gone live?
I got one too.
Oh, bloody hell. That's the first. Considering YouTube have been fucking removing comments everywhere. So anyway, good evening, everybody. Good evening, YouTube, lurking in the background to fuck us up tonight. Paulette, good evening, darling. Yeah, been a strange couple of days, isn't it? Taffy, Dr. Kirsty, good evening. Maureen, good evening, bud. We've got clear blue skies now after all this cloud and that this morning. Jenny, good evening. Yeah, I got a notification as well. First time ever. Within 2 hours of going live, anyway. Yeah, my throat's a little bit hoarse tonight. I don't quite know what's going on there. Probably the vaping or something, so I'm still on that a little bit. And there goes the fucking camera again. It's beginning to piss me off. Right, we'll stick with that one for now. It's going to keep going in and out of bloody focus. But I don't know why this other one does it. I really don't. Yeah, it's been a bit strange, isn't it? Does anybody else in this country use a pager? I don't. I've never had one. And after the antics that are going on at the moment, I don't think anybody else will as well. But yeah, you know, a few things have been coming out and around it. A lot of supposition about what's happened. It's obviously an attack of some form on Hezbollah. I ain't too bothered. You know, that lot out there have been killing themselves for years. As far as I'm concerned, they can fucking carry on. I don't care. But everybody seems to be blaming Israel. Well, Israel has certainly got the technology and the know-how to pull something like that off. They've got a very, very good security service and spies and shit like that. Yeah, absolutely, Paulette. It turns out that there is, or was, some explosives in the pages. People have dissected them already and looked into them. They were all set to, apparently they were getting 2 alerts and then a slight pause and then boom. Obviously a lot of the injuries, there has been a few deaths. I think it's 12 now. A lot of the real serious injuries, obviously, around the hips, legs, crutch, as most people would have kept them in their pockets or on their belts.
Load of bollocks.
Load of bollocks, or less bollocks in certain cases. Shame about the kids getting caught up in it. You know, they were obviously in the vicinity of some of them going off. All right, Phil. Yeah, we're fine, mate. Yeah, quite a bit of chest injuries going on. You couldn't quite see it in the video today. Obviously, they had to be covered over a bit because YouTube wouldn't have let it up. otherwise, those clips. And quite a few missing fingers. One clip there actually showed, I believe he was in a supermarket at a till by the look of it, not the bloke who was by the veg. The other one, it looked like he'd seen the alert, picked the thing up off his belt and was looking at it when it went off. But there was another one in the back by an ambulance waving his arms around, and it was like, so it looked like he had lost a couple of fingers. But yeah, absolutely well orchestrated, well organised. The virgins won't be needed. No, they certainly won't, Paulette. They're going to be very disappointed. Apparently, the pages were from a European manufacturer. They were built under license using a company's name from Taiwan, as has been disclosed now. That they said they have nothing to do with it. They were just using their company's name with permission. But they were purchased 5 months ago, along with the walkie-talkies that have been exploding since. Were they all bought together? Now, Hezbollah are the only ones that had these, apparently. Their administration staff and their fighters, according to reports. But how did they get hold of them? Did they buy them in bulk? Were they offered them? Was it suggested to them that the mobile phones weren't safe? And, oh, by the way, we've got 5,000 pages here to use if you want them. Can't track them. I don't think we'll ever know. Nobody has claimed responsibility for it, that's for sure. But, yeah, knowing how the Israeli Secret Service, as it were, operate, I can see it being them. Until we find out who supplied them and who got them set, because they must have been all doctored. So we'll have to wait and see. But yes, that is it was something that was unexpected. But now, have they doctored any mobile phones? A lot of Hezbollah had hidden their phones, apparently. They were told to get rid of them. But if there are some mobile phones out there that can be got at in the same way, there's more people in danger, isn't there? But it's going to throw them into a right tizzy. I mean, they won't be able to communicate properly. Well, they won't be able to press any buttons on the phone, will they, for a start, some of them? But with about 2,500, I think it is, being injured, is that all of them that went off? Is there another 2,500? Because they said there was 5,000 of these things. Maybe they're waiting for another number and another call. Yeah. Right. Well, you guys have got anything to say on that? Let's have a look at some of the chat. Yeah, it's not been bad here, Jen. It was very cloudy this morning. I've started doing a couple of seconds filming the sky each morning now so people can see what it's like. But it has cleared up. It's been quite bright. I mean, it's absolutely a clear sky out there at the moment. And for any of you that are in the position to see it, there's supposed to be the Northern Lights again tonight. Apparently they were visible from around this area last night, but we're surrounded by trees. We can't see any of the horizon, so
Went to bed.
we went to bed. We don't get to see any of it. Flyby, good evening. You got flagged from YouTube about writing in this chat. What do you mean by flagged, Flyby? Your chat's coming through, mate. I know YouTube have been pissing about again. If you looked in the chat on today's video and the comments, Graham had one removed. There was nothing in it. In fact, I copied it, posted it, and pinned it. Pinned it? Pinned it. Pinned it. Just to show there was nothing wrong with it. Why they removed that one, I have no fucking idea. They're ridiculous. They really, really are. Shit, come on, that's... Well, look, we've got several cameras, Jen. I've got the Canon that's on there. Heather does have a big Canon upstairs. Oh, where's that one? Come on. I've also got me. Now it's all gone out of focus. Look. Fucking hell. And I've also got my Fujifilm, which has got a hell of a lens on it. That's the one I take the pictures of the moon with. Plus the cameras on my phones, and obviously they're old phones, so they're not that clever. It says people will see that I've subscribed to this channel.
Yeah, it does. That's a standard message.
That's standard, Flyby. If you've got your profile visible public, it will do. You can change that in the privacy settings. I can't remember offhand how you do it, but yeah, Jen, with the moon, I mean, it's very low on the horizon here at the moment. And again, we've got buildings and trees. Occasionally I get to see it. And when I do take some pictures and usually a video or two as well. But cheese toasted electric blanket life. Oh yes, don't forget to hit the like button. There you go, I'll press it for myself. How's that? But yeah, look into your privacy settings on YouTube, Flyby. I don't know whether you've actually got a channel yourself or just a profile. If you have got a channel and you've been putting videos out, there's every chance that it'll automatically go on public. I mean, I can see who's subscribed to me, but if they're not a public channel or they haven't made their channel public, their profile public, then I can't see them. You know, this is how the lurkers get in, sit in the background without us knowing that they're there, because they can subscribe, and if they're private, I can't see their subscriptions. So.
But no, whenever you post a comment, it gives you the warning that other people will be able to see it. So worry not, Phil.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
it. Sorry.
But yes, Thomas. Good evening, Stuart. Yeah, he's been at it again, hasn't he? Coming out and shouting about how he wants to improve the economy and make more money for the country. At the same time, thriving business and millionaires out of the country.
We're all going to get free clothes.
But what?
We're all going to get free clothes.
Yeah, right. That's not business, is it? Oh, I've forgotten where I fucking was now.
Sorry, I've done it again.
Yeah. Now, the reason they're leaving is because of the threat of higher taxes, obviously. And those that are leaving, he's threatening to tax them to leave. Good evening, Graham. So, yeah, he's lost the plot. I'm sure he has got mental health business. Oh, the business is booming, Stuart. As long as you're in selling energy, selling fuel. Can you see me, Roger? Yes, I can, Flyby. I can see your comments. They're making record profits. So how can he say that business isn't booming? Yeah, he is, Jan. He is. He's, trying to entice businesses into this country. Like he keeps on about the energy. He needs people to invest. Major business, yeah. Wants to bring investors into the country. Well, they ain't going to do it. I mean, as I've said before, he's already driven some away. A lot of the investment that was coming in, they've said, no, go fuck yourself. Good evening, PSNI. Make yourself known which one you are. The profits. They will make a fortune, Stuart. Of course they will. Selling pages, walkie-talkies and the like. Yeah, we know that. Or selling their souls. Or a few of their wives. All the ones they get fucking benefits for. That does piss me off, that does. It's Paul. Good evening, Paul. I never know which one it is and who's using your channel. But yeah, Starmer's not doing himself any favours on that. That's all right, Graham. I usually don't miss an opportunity to have a dig like that myself, as you've seen by my thumbnail. It's even worse. I know you're not on Facebook, but I've posted some even worse ones on there, believe me. They got blinded. Yeah, well, that's what I said. They'd have to use voice dialing on mobiles if they start to use them again, because a lot of them have lost fingers. So they won't be able to type in the numbers or text. Yeah, apparently all us honkies are here in Britain as well, Paul. We're all terrorists, right wing. Yeah, we know that, Flyby. He's always big up them. He's always said he wants to work with them. Unfortunately, the only ones that can get him out is his own party. I have said before that the king can dissolve the parliament. He can't do it off his own back, unfortunately. If you look at the law, he can request that a government dissolves itself, but he can't actually force them to do it. They're now called Hasno bullshit. You see some of the ones that are coming out on Facebook, Stuart. That's unbelievable. God knows what Twitter and that must be like, but I don't use them. But yeah, old Chubby Fingers can't actually remove them. It's something to do that once he's given them permission and opened the Parliament, then technically he has no more involvement in it. And they can actually overrule any decision he makes. Yeah, Blair took the hanging out, and Sunak also changed the treason laws as well, Phil. So effectively, members of Parliament now can't even be charged with treason. I think it is, with the new acts that he put in, or amendments, I should say. They can't even be charged with it. So, you know, a lot of the laws they put in, new ones, Sunak especially, were to cover their own asses, basically. The online safety bill, I've always said that was nothing to do, or very little to do, with protecting people online. It was to do with censorship. Pure and simple. About 80% of that act is to do with censorship. Latest page of message calling. No, I'll just put the message out. Boom. Or as the one on Facebook says, surprise, motherfucker. Yes, they can be done for lying in the house. That comes over misrepresenting in Parliament, I think is the way that's worded. And as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of other people have quite plainly see that he has lied in Parliament. He actually lied to get into Parliament, so to get the PMship. But I'm surprised that there's not really enough. The rats have left the sinking ship, but they're not reading the room. I mean, when your own MPs are getting abused verbally and kicked out of a pub, driven out of pubs. Himself, you go to the races. You know, Farage was there. Farage got cheered. He got booed and told to fuck off and called a wanker. Now, if he doesn't take any notice of that, there's something seriously wrong with the clown. I think it's going to get to the point where him and his cronies just won't be able to step out in public, because all they're going to do is get abuse. And rightly so, I think, with what they're doing. But what is interesting is that the old ginger chav, Raina, she's keeping very quiet, isn't she? Very quiet. I think that's going to be his main challenger for leading the Labour Party, to be honest. None of the others have got enough sense. I mean, Lammy's a fucking waste of space. And it's obvious, getting off the plane with his trainers on, he isn't getting backhanders for any of his clothing and designer gear, unless it's from Adidas or Reebok or somebody. But as I said in today's video, he said right at the start he wanted to keep his missus out of the limelight. He didn't want to put her in front of the public. And them accepting, I'll call them donations rather than bribes, because they were effectively a bribe to get him into the House of Lords. He shoved her straight back into the limelight, put her in front of the public. So that was another lie. Yeah, Farage, he's got some good ideas, but at the end of the day, as you say, Phil, he's still a millionaire. He still made a lot of money off people's backs when he was working in Parliament before and for various parties. But it's the same as everybody. You know, they're saying what they want people that the people want to hear. Now, Farage has always known the biggest issue in this country, and it was always going to be moving forward, was the illegal immigration. And now Starmer has said that they're not going to stop the boats. They're going to still keep on with this shit of trying to knock out the smuggling gangs. Well, that's been tried. It's been tried for a few years now, and it doesn't work. Only the idiot's too fucking thick to see it. All they look at is ways of making them legal to come here rather than come here illegally, because they will pass a lot of the applications. Yes, Rwanda wouldn't work. I always said that. Others said it. It was nothing more than an exchange program. But you can bet your fucking bottom dollar Germany's got involved in that one and are using it now. But you can bet your bottom dollar that they won't be accepting what the Rwandans were going to send them. The disabled and the ill that are going to cost more than the illegals. And of course, today the stories broke in mainstream media from Hull and other places where the riots were, or alleged riots. They were a couple of nights of upset in a handful of areas. They weren't full-blown riots all around the country like there was back in the 70s and 80s. And even the locals are coming out and saying, well, you know, it's obvious people are pissed off. We got people on the streets. We've got people in second-rate, third-rate, and even damn-right disgusting housing, why these fuckers are put up in hotels. You know, and I think a lot of the older ones are speaking up now simply because they're looking forward to a very, very lean and possibly cold winter. Why these bastards are sat in nice warm hotels getting their meals cooked from. Or at least getting hot meals. You know, it shouldn't be happening. Yes, there are countries around the world that need help. Good evening, Tony. There are countries around the world that need money to get themselves going. But what they're giving them financially is usually sucked up by corrupt governments in those countries. No, you can't help somebody if you can't help yourself. And we've got to get this country sorted first. Then we can think about helping other countries. Charity is about donating. I don't donate to any of the fucking charities he's sending money to. So why is he sending tax money there? It's our money. We should have a say. I've always said that. So have millions of others. But again, he's not reading the room. He's not fucking listening to the people that pay him to be in that job. You know, at the end of the day, they're supposed to be working for us with our best interests, and they're not. You know, they're already covering up the financial dealings. Reeves is not allowing anybody to see the data on the country's finances, saying that they're collating the data. No, they're finding ways of covering shit up. No, it shouldn't, Graham. It should not be sent abroad, mate. People in this country work and pay taxes for our own benefits, not other countries. Now, there's a lot of charities. The money actually goes to certain people who run them. Sure, that's been proved. Some of the big charities as well. the CEO of one. I won't mention the name of it because there's legal repercussions on that. But he's on a 3-figure salary before the decimal point. Now, some of the charities have got millions in the bank that they're not spending. Money that could be used to ease people's problems. But they're not spending it.
You mean the people with the poppies?
I just said don't mention any fucking names because of legal repercussions. Oh, you don't listen, do you? Thank you very much. But in this, even some of the small charities are like that. They take the money and it doesn't go to where it's needed. Food banks and that, absolutely, they do a good job, but we shouldn't be relying on them. People should not have to rely on charity in this country. You know, we're supposed to be allegedly one of the richest countries in the world. You know? Yet people that have had to queue up to get donations of food just to put meal on the table to feed the kids. Yes, there are scroungers out there. There are people that won't work. There are people that don't want to work. But there are people that are even working that are going to these places because they can't afford to buy it with the price of rent and everything else, bills. I mean, cancer charities, they get given millions. Yes, I do agree. 1 or 2 of them will look after people that have got cancer. They do support them and look after their families and shit like that. But they will not tell you. They will try and tell you that they're working on cures for cancer. But even if they found one, they're not allowed to tell you they found one. And that goes for all big pharma as well. Under the Cancer Act, was it 1916 or 19 something? There is an act in place anyway where it is illegal for anybody to actually announce that they've got a cure for cancer. They can be prosecuted for it. Any news on the murder midge? Yeah, she's fine, Phil. She's on Facebook. She's been posting on there. I haven't spoke to her recently, but both her and Dan are absolutely fine. Yeah, exactly, Stuart. There's no money in healthy people. And if you look through the data, Big Pharma have never actually cured any disease. They've never cured one. They may have inoculated people against them, but they've never actually cured one. I mean, they can't even cure the common cold, for fuck's sake. Yeah, they reckon they can cure all these exotic ones? Nah. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit, I call on that. You know, they're pushing the monkeypox again now, or mpox as they're calling it. Why they need to keep changing the fucking names, I don't know. But again, they're saying the biggest risk to it are gays and people like that, although obviously same as AIDS and anything like that, anything that affects a minority group can affect normal people, anybody. I shouldn't say normal, that is rather rude, but they can affect anybody. All right, Graham, no worries, mate. You take it easy, buddy. Turkey tail mushrooms is showing anti-seed properties. All right, Steve. Oh, there's been lots of things. Think about it. Sharks. Most animals and fish can develop cancers. But they've never found one in sharks, and they don't know why. Whether they've not investigated it, I would have presumed they have. But they've never found cancerous cells in sharks. Certain tribes that have lived on their own, isolated from everybody in jungles, they've never had cancer. There are things that they say helps with cancer in some of these deep jungles in the Amazon, etc., but not in enough quantities, and it's not easy to access and process to make it viable to harvest them. The amounts aren't there. So, all this stuff over the cancer, they've got this that can hold this up, hold that up. No. Chemo. It's not a cure. It's not a cure. But it will kill certain cancer cells. Doesn't mean to say the cancer's gone away. You got an invite for a flu vaccine. Good evening, Russell. Sharks lack veggie diet, maybe. Yeah, nice one. If you keep getting them, Phil, I had a word with my doctor, and I've told them I want all the texts, and that stopped inviting me for all this shit. Because I won't go to the appointments. As I keep telling them, I see enough consultants, and the consultants send plenty of letters to my GP surgery. If they want to know how my health is, they can get off their fucking asses and read the letters. I don't need to go in there and tell them the same story as I'm telling the consultants. And again, don't forget, opt out of the data sharing, or the NHS will, once they get all this new computer programs in place, be able to share your data, including your medical records. And you've got to opt out of that one. I mean, the last time I spoke to my GP, he said, "Oh, you're still at risk of some of these diseases." I said, "I've been at risk for them for fucking years. So I've never caught them. So, I'm happy. Leave me alone." But I know most of the guys in here are unjabbed. Those that are jabbed have done it for very good reasons, either work or whatever. Loved ones. I've always said it's personal choice. If anybody wants to go and get jabbed up, then fine. That's their decision. But when it goes tits up and all of a sudden you've got cancer or whatever, then, don't come complaining about it, because you were warned. I mean, it was released a year or so ago about the extra blood clots, the white ones, that they've been finding, mainly morticians and, what would you fucking call them? Coroners. That was released. Now they're finding more and more of those, and more people are finding them and speaking out of it. No, neither have I, Jen. Neither has Heather. I wouldn't go near the thing. We were never masked. We went shopping as normal. I didn't change anything around my life at all. At the time I was working, I still went to work. I wasn't a critical worker. I wasn't an emergency worker. But I was able to work on my own, so I still went to work. Used to go shopping without a mask. When I was at home, when I wasn't working, I'd be out walking most of the day. I'd go out for hours walking.
It was lovely. I got peace and quiet.
Let's try this other fucking camera again, see what happens now. It's weird. Sometimes it'll last all evening. Oh dear. My chest is getting worse. And then at other times it pulses up and freezes. I have actually got to go and see a consultant on the 30th about my breathing, actually. So I will be having my throat investigated, my lungs and everything like that. I'm sure it's to do with the scarring that's in there, but apparently you killed grannies. Oh, were any of us that didn't wear a mask? Yeah, we were all granny killers, weren't we, Phil? I mean, yeah, I used to get one or two. Oh, you should be wearing a mask. I said, well, what are you frightened of? Oh, I'm frightened of COVID. Well, you're wearing a mask, so you should be all right. You're protected. You shouldn't have needed one, Jen. It was proved in law. Even police inspectors said it themselves. And the Prime Minister at the time, although that was Boris, that literally all you had to say to any security staff or even the police was you are exempt from wearing one. And they were supposed to accept that. We know they weren't, and they didn't. I've got one of the pack cards which says mask exempt.
I found it wasn't the security people, it was the normal everyday shopper that looked at you as if you were something they've stepped in if you haven't got a mask on. They were the people that were, why aren't you wearing a mask? Just, because you might infect them.
Yes, sure. The only issue anybody really had was me, is what you're doing with a GoPro on your chest. Not why aren't you wearing a mask. I did stop off at the jab centre that was in the car park round the corner from here one day walking back from the town. Just tried to ask a few questions. They were very, very rude, and so I was like, well, go fuck yourselves then. Most of the security knew the score. They just left me alone. So, Grumpy Supper, good evening. You've lost even more hair. Yes, mate. By design this time. My biannual shearing. But yeah, I never got challenged in a supermarket, Stuart, or any shop I went in. As Heather rightly said, yeah, you'd get some funny looks, but just passing by, got some content to work on for Saturday. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. Phil, come to you. Yeah, the 2010 Discrimination Act. It is actually. In fact, I can give you the exact numbers. By challenging the mask, your rights were protected under the Equalities Act 2010, Section 29, 5 and 5A. and also direct discrimination under the same Act, Section 13, stroke 1. If they tried to make you wear a mask, or they wouldn't take the fact that you weren't wearing one, or you had an excuse not to wear one, which you didn't have to give, that's the act they were breaking. And that's the one that I used to carry. And it's got all the relevant information about the acts on the back. And I did show that to a copper, and even he said, "Well, you don't need that. You only got to tell us." I said, "Yeah, I know, but you're quite a reasonable one round here." I said, "You go to London and wave that, and they just grab you, cuff you, and throw you in the fucking van."
But remember what it was like when we went away on holiday that year, and they were relaxing about the masks, and we went into Cockermouth, and every shop you've got to wear a mask. One person,
Yeah.
2 people.
Queue outside. Go fuck yourselves. Yeah, there's lots of reasons, Jem, why people couldn't wear them. I mean, my breathing's always been bad. But during lockdown and that, it wasn't as bad as it is now. This has only come on in the last couple of years where it's got worse. I think some of the other issues have accelerated it a little bit. But even back then, I couldn't wear a mask. I used to get, once I was through the door shut, I used to go in whatever direction I fucking wanted. You know, it was great. If there was somebody stood in front of you and you wanted to get to something, you just walked up to them and they just looked at you and moved away. Oh, yeah, fine. Yeah, this is what happens, Jen. They terrified people. And this is why normal people were acting like that. They terrified them. They put them in fear. And that's what it was all designed to do. Load of geese flying. Yeah, we used to get them here because we got lakes up the Sutton Park, and there's some lakes over the back this way. And they used to go between the two. You'd hear them going across in the morning, then coming back at night. But I haven't heard them for a while.
Somebody's at them.
Yeah, some of the illegals have barbecued them. Yeah, that was it, Stuart, you know. They said, "Well, walk up to you shouting, you got to wear a mask." Well, don't walk up to me then if you're that fucking worried. You know, the fact that the police didn't have to wear them in their own company, that tells me loads, you know, when they're in the car together. They didn't have to wear them. And there's never, ever been any figures publicised on how many police caught it. Wonder why that is. But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the whole COVID exercise, the lockdowns especially, was just about installing fear in people. And now they're doing all of it again over other different things. And then all of a sudden they want to bring the assisted dying thing back up. You know, legalised suicide, as it were. But as I said on that, with the stipulations that people are saying, you've got to get 2 doctors to confirm it. You've got to have 6 months or less life expectancy left. It would have to be signed by a high court judge. I mean, by the time you've been all through that bollocks with the way the systems works here, you'd be fucking dead anyway. if you're terminal. Police. We didn't have that many airshot. I never went actually into a city, simply because I don't like going in there. But in the local town, there was probably half a dozen of them that I used to see walking about. They were the only ones walking through the shops, usually through the precinct. And I used to stop and talk to them. They were quite reasonable. Never had any issues with them. One day, there was a hit squad in, obviously the city boys, harassing shoppers. And, I posted a video, I think it was either my second or third video, was me filming my reaction to them. And I didn't hold back. Logan's Run, yes. Carousel. Once your red light flashes at 30 years old, renew. Yeah. Or die, as the case was. But that was quite a futuristic film in its day. And it was still when Jenny Agutto was a young lady. Very nice young lady. Yes, Steve. I mean, they sat behind these plastic screens, didn't they? Yet they still handled every bit of fucking shopping that had to go through the till. Yeah, some of them were wearing gloves, but, they were still getting on their clothes if it was, and they didn't consider that. They just made themselves look stupid when they used to say that. Oh, she was, Phil. Far better than Farrah Fawcett, who was also in it. She lives down in Cornwall now. She's got a place down there. Right down west, towards Land's End, I think it is. Oh, we used to see him around here, Stu. We had one. I used to see him quite regular in B&M. Used to take the piss out of him. He'd be walking round with the old NBC suit on and a fucking gas mask. I don't remember her being in Where Eagles Dare. She was in American Werewolf in London, and she was originally in The Railway Children and Walkabout. Equus, that was another one of hers. Yeah, but you think about it, Steve, the PPE that the government bought was all substandard anyway, even the ones that were issued. And there were so many tests by so many different scientists that actually proved that none of it fucking worked. Even the surgical masks.
But we were told it was a waste of time and it wouldn't work. And then they bought in that we got to do it anyway.
Yeah, Walkabout was the one that really made her famous, Phil. She was still very, very young in that one, actually. Very young. She did get... she was one of these that looked better with age. I mean, she still looks good now for her age. But there again, at my age, anything looks good. But you get to a certain age where you don't get the same reactions to it as you used to when you were young. Advise the public to sit the elderly next to an open window. Yeah, so they can catch all the bugs that are flying around. But you've got to look at it that back then, a lot of the fear factor was aimed at the olds, with the care homes, and you couldn't have visitors and shit. And they're still doing it again now. This assisted dying, it's more about the olds and the terminally ill more than anything else. Everything they're trying to do with the winter payment. I mean, I don't believe that as many will die as they say, but there will be a few. We do lose a few every winter anyway. Same as we lose a lot of them through the flu every year, the winter flu, the annual flu. But that's another thing that hasn't been mentioned in a long time. The excess deaths since COVID. Well, they're still happening. People are still dropping dead with heart problems and things like that. But they're just not mentioning it. It's not being talked about. She was in a war film with Donald Sullivan and him from the... Yeah.
My comment.
Captain Churchill.
My comment.
The Eagle has landed, yeah, with Richard Burton, wasn't it? Where they captured the village, took over the village in this country.
Michael Caine, Donald Sutherland, Robert Duvall.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve, they've done that all the time. And again, what's happened to these national alerts that they set up on the mobile phones? I haven't heard anything about them since the last time it failed when they tried to send them out, when millions didn't get it.
There hasn't been an emergency.
Oh, you'd think so, the way they carry on. There's been weather alerts and shit like that, but nothing's been put out, nothing's been advertised. They haven't said they're going to test them. I mean, that was, 2 years ago? How many millions did that cost? Track and trace, that never worked. That was more millions gone, wasn't it? You can see, yes, there could be a big hole in the finances, but prove it. Let's see the government finances, the country's finances. It's not there. People have said it's not there. When the Bank of England, for fuck's sake, turns around and tells you it's not there, they're the ones that lend the government, the country, money.
Maybe it's like the Scottish that it's supposed to be in the bank and it isn't.
And all those housewives who took the job of causing me an issue. Yeah, it has caused a lot of more issues, Phil, particularly around mental health, to be honest. And those that took the jab, yes, they're the ones that are having heart problems. So, yes, the medications are being used up more. Now, I'm on a few different medications, not for heart issues. Well, technically not, but mainly a lot of blood thinners and that. Now, all of a sudden, my local surgery, I used to get mine 3 months supply at a time. That was the maximum that they could prescribe. And then all of a sudden, it's down to they can only give 2 months at a time. And they said it's down to supply issues. Personally, I think it's the surgery can't afford to pay the bills. So they can't keep up with it. Yeah, Stuart, that would be a bummer, wouldn't it? You get a terrorist alert, and as the alert comes in, your fucking phone blows up. How ironic would that be? But I didn't even realise that pages was still being used. But there again, in parts of the world that are well behind us, yeah, I can kind of see that. I mean, the NHS was still using them till not so long back. And they gave them up. And I don't even think there's a pager system still online in this country. I can't be sure of that. I haven't checked. But as far as I know, there isn't. But see, now that's another fear, as I said earlier, Stuart. Pages have been blowing up over there. The walkie-talkies, the radios are now doing the same. Are they going to be panicking if they go back to using their mobile phones? The same are going to happen to them. Because Hezbollah, by the sounds of it, all their tech was all ordered all together and supplied basically by the hierarchy of the Hezbollah. You want to get on to them, Paulette? They can't hold it up. If you need it, they should be providing it.
There's certain things they just can't get because they're going to the private practices. People are buying them.
Yeah.
There's one
old-fashioned way of drink.
One they do that's good for diabetics and menopause, but it's also brilliant for weight loss. And the private weight loss clinics are buying them all before they hit the shelves.
Oh, that will have been sold on the fucking internet.
Yes. They're going through those routes, but they're not hitting the shelves for every man and his dog that needs them for the cause they were meant for.
I don't know who you could complain to about that, Paulette. Maybe the BMA. If you got in touch with the BMA and actually said that, they're not prescribing this, but you need it, you should be getting it, and tell them how long you've been waiting. I mean, I actually gave my surgery a bollocking the other day. Yeah, leukemia, so that's cancer. You can say, look, you should have these medications. Yeah, it was meant to be safer because they could be tracked on them. Sure, that was the main way. The main thing, they could be tracked where they were by, other countries, I'd say. Yeah, do it, Paulette. Take it as far as you can, darling. Go to the BMA. Even get in touch with your MP, although they won't do a lot at the moment. My MP actually blocked me from emails, as did the Home Office. They won't accept them from me anymore. But what was it? I've forgotten what I was going to fucking say now. And it wasn't your fault this time. It was mine. I was chatting. My surgery actually phoned me the other day. Was it last week or the week before, actually? Saying that they'd got a letter from a consultant that I'd been seeing over an issue. And that consultant had recommended that I take a certain medication. And they wanted to know if I wanted them to prescribe it. And so I politely told them that no, because you're bloody useless at filling out prescriptions. I said, and I was supposed to start taking them the day after the consultant told me. So I got them to write me a prescription out. And when she questioned it, I said, well, one of my other consultants wrote a letter to yourselves telling you, my GP surgery, that I needed prescribing a certain medication. And it took me bloody months to actually visiting the GP surgery, phoning, just to get you to fulfill the prescription. I said, so I don't trust you.
I had to take a copy of the consultant's letter in to get so that they could photocopy it and put it on my records to get them prescribed.
Yeah.
Because the backlog on the post was going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a folder full of letters down there from various consultants that I see for various problems. And they all get copies that are all sent to the surgery that are supposed to go on file. Yet they reckon they've never read any of them. Oh, when was this? When did this letter get sent? And I'll give them the date. And then all of a sudden, oh, look, there it is. I said, well, why don't you fucking read them when you get them? You know, I mean, admittedly, there is a breakdown in communications with the NHS. This is one of the things, in fairness, that Starmer mentioned, that they want the system I don't believe the AI should be used, but the system should be that any doctor should be able to access the records from, no matter from where they come from, as it were. Any NHS records that they need to see, they should have instant access to them. And this is the problem, they don't. Even in the hospitals, different departments don't have access to them. And this is one of the problems that holds things up. Again, this was something that the Tories said they were going to sort out, but they never did. You know, I always said the Tories were fucking everything up, so they knew they weren't going to make another election. So they just wanted to leave a mess. And they succeeded in doing that. But it was a mess that was quite easily sortable. And Starmer just isn't the one to sort it. He's openly said now that they won't be stopping the boats. Well, that's the only way they're going to stop them coming. So that sends the message straight away. They're not interested in stopping them. They never were. They never will be. You know, all this talking to, oh God, what's her name? The Italian Vint that's in charge there. Mallory, something like that, isn't it? Waste of time. Absolute waste of time. They want to use the model that they're using Albania. Well, the actual immigrants that the Italians get aren't the same as the ones that we get. A lot of them are African. Yes, we get some of those, but they don't get the same as we get. You know what? And if this is the fact that all these countries are doing this, why aren't they picking them up when they come through their countries before they get here? Because they know as soon as they get to France, they'll be across the channel up in boats, and then it's our problem, isn't it? Their problem's solved then as soon as they get in them fucking boats. So no, they won't do anything about it. And France is the worst one. You know, that's very near, if you count, nearly 100 million they've given France now to stop them coming, or to help stop them coming, stop them on the beaches, wherever. They've stopped the odd one, usually when there's a camera crew about, and that's it. Yeah, Stuart, you haven't got the sort of numbers over there, nowhere near as many as what we've got here. You know, I don't even know how your national health over there works, to be honest. Maloney, that's it. Macaroni, I used to call it. Yeah, the only dealings I've had with the health services in Ireland was Southern Ireland. Evening, Scar. Yeah, well, that was my point, Scar. If you think about it, when, oh God, what's her name? The Oompa Loompa. Fucking hell. Can't remember her name now. When she was Home Secretary, she spent, I think it was Priti Patel. That was it. Thank you, darling. She spent God knows how many million training Border Force, buying them the equipment to actually turn the boats back, physically turn them back. And as far as I know, Border Force have never, ever turned a boat back. Because what they didn't take into account was as soon as they see Border Force coming, the bastards puncture the boats, disable the boats. So they can't go anywhere. They've got to be rescued. They've got to be picked up. It's a tactic that they've used for a good couple of years. But the fact that Patel and Suella Braverman, I will admit, both submitted ideas to the government, the Tories, that could have dealt with a lot of it and stopped them coming. But between our government and the French, they put a stop to it. They weren't allowed to progress any further. She actually offered to send our people over to France to billet them in France and patrol the beaches properly and stop the boats being launched. And the French were having none of it.
Well, no, because they want rid of them.
Exactly. And I said, we seen them stop one or two. We seen them deflate boats. We seen them chase back off the beaches. But very reluctantly, and as I said, usually only when there's a camera around. Yeah, I know it's the same, Stuart, but what I'm saying is Northern Ireland is a lot smaller than over here. They haven't got as much to cope with. You know, ours over here just don't seem to give a flying fuck. Do we know what happens to the boats that arrive? A lot of them were put in storage, deflated and put in storage, Stuart. If you go back a couple of years ago, Active Patriot he found out where they were storing them. There was somebody was saying that they were going back to the continent, being sold back to the continent. Now I believe they were being destroyed. But what's happening with them now, I don't know, because they can't leave them in the channel because obviously they're a hazard to shipping. The same with the outboard motors on them. I have no idea what's happening to them. But most of the motors on them, originally, when Active was filming them and that, were actually ex-military outboards, funny enough. They were, some said they came from the Dutch Army and Navy, some said German, but they were all painted military green, and a lot of them had numbers on, as did the dinghies back then. But now, the dinghies that they're using now are being produced and manufactured specifically for getting them across the channel. They're poorly made. They're dangerous. They've got no air chambers. Once they start going down, that's it. The whole thing deflates. This is where they're getting into trouble in the channel with them. The floors don't fit properly. The glue comes undone. And they're just, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they've got immigrants somewhere on the continent being paid to manufacture them. Somebody said they were coming through Germany. Somebody in Germany was manufacturing them. That's where they were being made. Again, haven't seen any confirmation of that. Outboard motors you can buy anywhere. And they're never big ones they fit to them. They're very underpowered. That's why they keep breaking down. Generally, it's in a shit state, same as everywhere else. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, they can see the problem. Well, we can see the issues. The doctors can see the issues. The nurses can see the issues. Even the fucking cleaners can see where the issues are. But the government can't. Yeah, it's like every other problem they got. They can't read the room. They don't see the truth, or they don't want to. And if they do see it, they ignore it. I mean, I'm absolutely sure that Starmer going out in public, he's doing it deliberately just to stir up hate from the public. I mean, what the fuck does him and his missus want doing going to a what's her name, Swift concert? What the fuck were they doing there? And that was tickets they got for free. A few £100 worth of tickets. I'm sure they're in it just to line their own pockets. I mean, they're a rich couple, but they're nowhere near at the level that Sunak was.
They're making the most of the freebies because they don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah, that's what I reckon. I mean, we were chatting today about the Prime Minister's salary. And how much does he get? Well, he actually, because mainstream media put out, he was on, what was it, 167,000 a year. Now, yes, he is on that, but it is made up of two separate salaries. Would you believe he actually gets £90,000 a year just because he's the Prime Minister? Not for the work he does as a Prime Minister, but just because he is the Prime Minister. Then he gets the Prime Minister's salary on top of that, which is another 80,000. But according to the figures and official paperwork, they only ever draw 75,000. Then on top of that, so that, you know, that's a fair whack. That's well over 150,000 a year. Then on top of that, he gets his expenses. So basically, he has no outlay on his second home in London, which I think they should have. Whether he still continues his second home while he's living at number 10, because they don't live at number 10 constantly, then, you know, he's probably on well over 200,000 to start with there. Then he gets in endorsements, sponsors, donations, as we've seen. Doesn't all go back into the party. A lot of it is personal. Hence the shit he's in with his missus at the moment, which they're not being investigated for anymore, by the way. Yeah, well, we got quite a few round here, Stuart, in Birmingham, but I've got one round the corner that covers most things, including surgery. Yet, for other stuff, we have to go down into the city. One the other side of the city and one in the city.
There's 6 hospitals in the group, I think it is.
Yeah,
Because
6 of them, is it, in the trust?
Because you've got Heartland, you've got Queen Elizabeth, you've got Solihull, you've got Good Hope, and I've missed one. But yeah.
There's 2 or 3.
City Hospital, thank you.
City,
and then you've got the Children's Hospital.
Yeah. But I mean, they've got an IT unit at our local hospital, and a stroke and a cardiac unit. And I know that for a fact because when I had the blood clot, I was in them. When the ambulance picked me up for the stroke, they took me all the way over to one in the city. Heartlands,
Heartlands are the stroke specialists.
Which meant Heather couldn't come and visit. It's just a nightmare to try and get to. I had to get a taxi home from it. It's fucking ridiculous.
You've got to go to the QE if you need any MRIs and things like that.
Yeah. The last one I had up here was exactly the same as the one they sent me to the QE for.
Yeah, but that's it. They've had the MRI unit round a Good Hope for a while now, but they still tend to send people over the other side of the city. It's ridiculous. No concerns for how much it costs people to travel and park and everything else.
No pockets in shrouds. Yeah, the local one I used to work at shut. And I've got to admit, a lot of the girls and boys there were and still are, the older ones, are of the same mind and the same ideas as most of us. You know, there's the ones I talk to, there's a lot there have said if they can find another job, they're gone, they're leaving, they're not staying. And they hate working with all the new ones that they're bringing in because they're just little young woke idiots. You know, that's what I said. Nursing used to be a vocation. It's not anymore. It's just like another job. And that's the way a lot of them look at it. And they're stirring up more trouble there now by telling staff, oh, well, if somebody says something that offends you, don't treat them. You can refuse to treat them. I mean, you'd never get an NHS staff member years ago to turn around and say, no, we're not treating you. They always found a way of treating you. They never found excuses not to. They're different type of people. I mean, I still preferred the old way of doing it with the sister and the matron. And I mean, fuck me, if you said anything bad about the matron, she'd more likely give you a slap. Yes, Jen, bring back matron. And a lot of them were like Hattie Jakes in the films as well. Do you want anything from the kitchen?
No, I'm good.
Oh, there. It's a struggle to get down to this chair all the time now. The fucking ram's gone on it. I lift it up and then I sink again. But yeah, they could take a lot of lessons from the past with the NHS and government as well, to be honest. and they're being the police are being called out again, aren't they, over their two-tier policing and shit, especially by women again, where they keep on, we are there to protect women. Well, I think the biggest tell is, there we go, that camera's been working fine for the last hour or so, and then it fucks off again. We'll go back to that one then. Yeah, I can have that other camera on during the day, and it will sit there working for hours and hours.
That's because it's not recording, it's not doing anything.
And it's not overheating or anything like that. I think it's because StreamYard doesn't like it, because don't forget, all this goes through StreamYard. It's not direct to the computer. See, that's out of focus now, isn't it?
Yeah, you moved.
Boom. Come on.
Boom, shakalaka.
Boom, shakalaka. Work, you bastard. Oh, there we go. It did something. So I've got to sit absolutely still. I keep meaning to try and get the other one working on the tripod here. It works as a camera and I can video with it, but I haven't managed to... I did find the lead, but I haven't been able to link it to the computer.
Oh, we're going to order one?
Yeah, there's something else it needs. I don't know whether it's software or program or download or something. I'll have to go through the descriptions. What's the name again?
Destruction.
Birdie, good evening. Looks like the son of Lenin. Yeah, it's my biannual sharing, Birdie. It was getting a bit out of control and annoying me. Yes, sure. That's what I'm saying. They were given permission over here to refuse to treat people if they had any issues with them. Yeah, the logo, Steve, it's always there if you use the free one. If you use the paid one, which gives you more, unlimited hours and a few more features, you can actually remove it. But on the free one, you can't.
And it's headphones, Steve.
Yeah, it's headphones that it's got on it.
Because you can see the cable hanging down. It's the StreamYard symbol.
Boy, a duck. Yeah, I've often wondered that. Maybe because it rhymes with fuck, I don't know. But I mean, with the hours I do, I don't need to pay for the other one. You can record videos with it as well. You can record and make videos with it. The only thing I don't use the bit of their section for is to store the videos.
Because you've got to pay for that.
You're using 30 a month and you only have the free one. Yeah, but you're using that over two different channels, Beardy. As long as you use a different email address, you can get as many as you want.
That's how Kat did it.
Yeah, if you remember that the mad woman Kat, Miss Kat, she was streaming literally 12 hours, 24 hours a day sometimes, every day, and she was only on the free ones, and that's how she was doing it, just setting up another email. Bingo, yeah. Because I've got two accounts. I've got me two emails. Obviously, I've got me personal one, and I've got the channel one as well. And when things messed up with StreamYard the other week, when you couldn't access the dashboard on it, I got back into it and it went to the other account, which I thought was weird because I looked up and all of a sudden, I've got twice as many hours left as I thought I had.
Your reset date was different.
Yeah, my reset date had changed as well. But yeah, I don't need any more than the 20 hours a month. You know, if I carry on till 10 o'clock on my streams, which sometimes I still do when I feel up to it, whether we'll get that far tonight, I don't know. I haven't had a nap today. It still gives me plenty to do extra ones if I want. You know, if there's any dramas or anything that needs going out straight away, I've still got that fallback. Because, you know, it's 3 hours a pop. It's only 12 hours, so that leaves me 8 hours in credit normally.
But even if you've only got an hour left on the clock, once you start it running, it will not cut off.
Yeah, they'll never cut you off midstream. In fact, I had that one night. I did some extras, and I didn't know whether, you know, if I did the 4 hours, it would have meant I'd have gone an hour over. So I actually contacted StreamYard, and the woman put an extra few hours on for me as like an add-on, and said, no, you can go ahead and do your stream. She said all it'll do, it'll just change the renew date, as it were. It'll put that forward by another day, which was great, you know. She said, no, if you're streaming and your hours run out, we don't cut you off. No, what is on the headphones on the duck is actually an S. It's not a $sign.
It's just a StreamYard logo.
It's just an S for StreamYard. I think that's why it's there.
Indeed.
But yeah, you know, I mean, what is the paid one now? I think it's 20 odd quid a month, isn't it? I mean, yeah, Pat uses the paid one, but there again, look at his streams. You know, we've done over 8 hour streams on there. And he regularly goes on from 8 o'clock till midnight and beyond. So it makes sense to have a paid one if you're on that.
StreamYard actually has their own YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you're doing quite a few there, Bitsy. I only do the one a week. That's it. And that really knackers me out. Like tomorrow, I probably won't put a video out because I haven't made any notes from today. Yes, I will sit and go through stuff, see what's happening tomorrow, and probably do a bit on Facebook. But Thursdays, I try and slow down. If I can have a day off of YouTube, then I do. You know, unless I've got a video prepared, obviously.
Can't see how much it is. It's not telling me.
Yes, S. Williams. I absolutely know she's there. She's constantly there. And she's nothing to do with StreamYard. She's all to do with me. All right, Loafer. How you doing, mate? Yeah, Beardy. I think it's 26 quid now, isn't it, or something like that. I mean, yeah, there are a few extras that you can benefit from, but they're not ones that I'd need or use. I mean, I have used the recording section before to make the odd video. I've been listening to Steve Roberts. Serene Williams. Why don't you use the same laptop? I did use a laptop for my live streams and videos.
No, I think that's why don't you and I use the same computer?
Yeah. Well, what I do, I've moved the camera over there now. I've actually got quite a big setup. I've got twin screens. I've got all sorts of things that I have open and lots of storage. So I've got a big desktop underneath there. My laptop wouldn't cope with it.
Well, no, we
With what I
can't.
was
We
doing.
can't both use the same one. If I'm moderating and things, can I? I'm commenting.
It's the same when Mrs. W runs her stream on a Friday night. She does it from her desktop upstairs because she can do more with it than the laptop. And again, she's got the two screens.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen. Take care, sweetheart. We'll probably catch up with you Friday, if not before. And the other handy thing is if somebody mentions something or we need something researched, it means I don't have to mess around on here trying to do it. Heather can do it behind me on the laptop. The microphone I got up here picks her up. So she does on occasion. She will be upstairs on her desktop if she's coming on the panel or whatever. But being as she can be seen and heard in the background, then there's no point in firing it up if we don't need it. You're doing a live Friday at the moment?
As far as I know, I will be live on Friday.
Yep. So she will be, Jen, yes.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link, Jen, whether you come up or not, it's up to you.
And that's why I appear on the panel on her Friday night shows, is because she's on the one upstairs.
And you're my moderator.
And I'm down here on mine because I can't be asked to go upstairs, plug my laptop in. And as I said before, this was it's quite a big computer I got here. All right, Grumpy, hope it goes all right Saturday for you, mate.
Did you say 8 o'clock Saturday night you're live, Grumpy?
Yes, he did.
Yes, I know he did. Just in case there was anybody in there that wasn't there when he said it earlier. Yeah.
Do you want to put Grumpy Sapper's link in the chat?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I take it that's 8 p.m. our time. But it just saves me going into YouTube, opening another one up, and
there's a link for
there
Grumpy
you go.
Sapper.
There's a link for Grumpy Sapper if anybody wants to join him there 8 o'clock Saturday night, UK time. If you've got nothing to do or you want something to do, go and give him a visit.
Saturday, Stuart.
Saturday night, Stuart. Amazing knacker because you're getting old. Yeah, right, loafer. Wait till you get to my fucking age, mate. I mean, that's what I say. I'm suffering today because I haven't had a kip this afternoon. Although I wasn't up too early this morning. I think it was about 5:30 when I got up this morning. I mean, some mornings it can be 3 o'clock. And by this time of night, I'm really shagged out then.
Yeah, it was about 5:30. I've been awake since about 4. And when you got up, I went back to sleep.
My biggest problem is the fatigue, and it's starting to really, really affect my eyes now. You'll see me keep rubbing them. And they're actually getting worse. And the polycythemia affects them as well, but sometimes it's almost like I'm forcing them to stay open. and that's in the middle of the day. I literally, the left one I have to open manually sometimes with my fingers if I've been asleep. I don't quite know what's going on. It's something that I've got to bring up with my consultant next time I speak to her, which isn't until next month, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Once I start yawning. Yeah, I might try and get in myself, Jen. It depends what's occurring. And I got a feeling that at some point pretty soon, Pap will pop up with another live. I think he's about due to nip back and sort things out like he normally does for a weekend, so he could well pop up live. Although last time I never got any notification and I didn't know he was going live. So the same as when he covered the hassles up there in Liverpool. I didn't know that until the following day. But this is what happens when you're usually in bed by 9 o'clock. Well, that's it, sure. See, I normally go to bed at 9 o'clock in the evenings. So by this time of night now, 20 to 9, I'd be thinking about having a quick bite of supper and winding down and turning things off and going up to bed. Because I do fall asleep at that time. And because I still don't sleep right through the night, that's why quite often I'm up early mornings.
You have a great relationship with taking in turns to wake the other one up.
Yeah. My biggest problem is I can lay in bed awake. It's not an issue. I can be really comfortable and relaxed. But then if the restless legs kick in or, I'm getting aches and pains.
Or I'm fidgeting too much.
No, it's not so much you. It's my own legs. I'm not comfortable. So I have to get up to alleviate that. The meds don't do anything with that. Well, I suppose the blood thinners might, but I don't take my meds until the same time every morning anyway, which is around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Because of the very nature of some of them, I do have to take them at the same time every day. And it's just easier to take them all in one go, first thing in the morning. That way I don't forget. Because that's another issue I've got is my memory. But I can get up at 6 o'clock and I'll be falling asleep again in my chair here by 8. But believe it or not, Beardy, the biggest headache for her is because I lean against the bottom of the bed. I lean against the toe board when I'm putting my trousers or my leggings on. And because I've just got up and I don't want to turn the light on because I don't want to disturb her, I'm waving around and I'm shaking the bed. And it really, really does annoy her. Or I'll drop something. I'll pick my glass cases up for an empty can or, plastic bottle, the drink that I've took up.
It can be so noisy.
Or I forget to put out a clean T-shirt in the morning and I've got to go rooting round through the drawers in the dark trying to find one.
And it wouldn't be so bad, but he curses.
Yeah, I curse to myself. At myself.
You curse at yourself, but you don't do it quietly in your head.
No.
Oh, bugger. Damn, bugger.
Yeah,
That's
fuck it. Where's that gone? Where the fuck did I put that last night? Why didn't I
Shut
do
the
that?
fuck
Where's
up.
my fucking socks that I put out because I can't find them in the dark? It's easier in the summer because there's daylight that comes through the blinds at that time, but not this time of year. And then I'll trip up or I'll walk into the door or...
So the sleepers wouldn't help, Stuart?
I dance, Stuart, because when I start getting the cramps in my leg, if I'm asleep, I end up in a lot of pain. A lot of pain. To the point where I've actually crawled out the bed and been on my knees on the floor in tears because it gets that painful sometimes.
Sometimes you jump out of bed yelling and screaming. It's
Yeah,
that bad.
I have done in the past. It does get very, very painful. I have thought about it, Beardy. I put one of my fishing headlights that we've got there one night, forgetting that when you turn it on, they're like a fucking lighthouse, man. They're halogen. And to turn it off again, you've got to go through the sequence of everything it does because it's got 3 lenses on it. And the last one is a fucking strobe light. I've been literally written off as sick. I don't know what your proper name is, what your first name is, whether it's Steve or what. Yeah, the consultants had a word with the DWP when I had my assessment, because with some of my conditions, it is actually dangerous for me to work. One, because of the fatigue. I never know when it's going to hit. And literally, when it hits me hard, within a couple of minutes, I've got to go and lay down and sleep. Obviously, I'm prone to blood clots and strokes, which doesn't help. Yes, I can drive and I do drive, but for safety, because I know when something's coming on, I never drive alone. I only drive when Heather's with me.
For safety, I've got the car keys.
So if I do feel anything coming on, or I'm really feeling tired, then yes, I do pull over and she'll drive. But it's not going to be long with my eyes before I will have to think about stopping. If they continue the way they're going, I've probably got another year or 2 before I won't be able to drive. I certainly wouldn't drive if I felt it was too dangerous.
Well, we've done it before, haven't we? When you haven't felt well, I've done the driving. So
Yeah.
There's no need for you to push it
No.
if the situation's not right. So
being an ex-racing driver, I enjoy me driving as well.
Hate being a passenger.
Oh, I'm a terrible passenger.
You need to go faster. Slow down.
What I tend to do is I put them at the bottom of the bed, on top of a box that I've got there. So I know what I'm putting on. But if I've knocked them off when I've been backwards and forwards to the toilet in the night or something, they're on the floor and then I can't find them.
I'll be honest, Stuart, most mornings he gets up and I don't even know he's gone. He'll move the quilt over so that it's like against my back. So I think he's still in the bed with me. And then I roll over and find I'm cuddled up to the quilt, and I could have had the whole bed to myself for hours before. And so
yeah, that's like me, Mikey. I mean, I walked uptown the other day. I had to get a little bit of shopping for myself and some bits and pieces that I wanted. So I walked up the town. It took me longer than it normally does. I had to take a couple of rests, and it's only a few hundred yards up the road. But that took me like 2 days to get over it with my legs. Same as if I mow the grass. We've got a very, very small back garden. But if I go out there, sometimes I can do it all in one. Sometimes I'll have to do it over a couple of days. And then my legs are screwed for a couple of days. But the nighttime cramps, it's usually when I stretch. That's the problem. I'll straighten my leg out, and then all of a sudden, it's like something snaps in them. And it could be the calf, it could be, down the bottom, behind. It could be anywhere. And I'm always moving anyway because I've got restless leg syndrome. I just can't settle in one position for very long. I keep turning over, and I'll be on side to side, then on my back. You no chance of sleeping through my cramps, Steve. Not a chance. Yep, I get it in my feet, in the ball of them, and on the top and my ankles. Should hit a toe. Oh, I've got enough scars on my legs from shit like that, Phil. From the pedals of the downhill bikes with the spikes on, I was always getting hit in the shins with them. Yeah, well, this was one of the things, Steve. Now, when I was on the Devil's Lettuce, which I haven't touched now for quite a few months, actually. I actually gave that up before I gave up the smoking. It got to the point where even that wasn't giving me a full night's sleep. And if I used too much of it, then it went beyond using it as a medication. And we know where that leads to. But my sleep patterns are still the same. I still don't sleep more than 3-4 hours at a time. And, not smoking, that hasn't made any difference to that at all. And I'm certainly not going back to it. It was bad enough giving it up to start with, but I wouldn't go back to it. It's something I always wanted to do, and I'd made my mind up I was going to do it, so I did. Same with the cigarettes. Yeah, I'm still using the vape, but not as much as I was. I'm eventually cutting right down that. Yeah, the backs of mine, they're terrible, Mikey. They really are. But I've got to the point now where I can almost know that I'm pushing, straightening and tightening it too far. And 9 times out of 10 now I can stop myself before I go beyond that, which triggers them. But every now and again I forget, or I'm still half asleep, and I'll stretch it out and stretch my toes out as well, and that's it. It's like someone's hit it with a hammer, and away I go. It'll absolutely screw that leg up for the day, and then I'll be limping on it again, like yourself, for a few days. And I think I've got a bit of a dodgy hip as well, because when I walk for more than a few minutes now, I do get a pain in my hip. But luckily enough, my breathing stops me walking for a while before I get to that level. That's what I'm at the hospital for at the end of the month, is to try and find out what's going on with the breathing. I'm hoping it's the same old problem, the scarring from the fire and that. The last time I got tested, there was no cancer showing up in my blood, but there's no telling. Hopefully it's not, touch wood, but it shouldn't be throat cancer. I think it's more the scarring, and it's tightening up as I get older. They x-rayed my lungs a couple of weeks ago and they said they looked fine on the x-ray, but they didn't go deeply into it. But this time I'm having scans on everything, and they're also going to scan my heart as well. You know, slowly working through things.
She's falling apart.
Falling apart. The £6 man I'll end up as. Yeah, it could be, Betty. It could well be, mate. I mean, I have given up smoking before, but basically I've been smoking since I was 12 years old, up until 3 or 4 months back when we gave it up. I did miss it, especially when we were up north on holiday, when I was fishing, because that was the main thing that I used to do with my hands while we were waiting for the fish, basically. Sit there and smoke. But now I don't crave them. The odd occasion where I think, oh, God, I could really do with a fag now. But other than that, no real craving. I mean, the COPD, yeah, there's an outside chance on that. But the emphysema, yes, it could be. But I'm still of the opinion it's the scarring that I've got in my breathing system. It's been there a lot of years. It has caused me issues before. You know, it was more the heat from the fire. I don't believe it got as far down as my lungs. But back when it happened, the doctor definitely said, yes, that there will be some scarring of the windpipe and what have you. And I have been prone to more than my average share of infections in my throat and that over the last few years. Again, that could be with age, you know. Maybe I'm one of these that Starmer wants to do away with. I'm just waiting for him to say, oh, yeah, you can have this assisted dying. And I said, well, put it this way, if you try to assist me, I'm going to fight back. So do your damnedest. I intend to try and hang around for some time yet. If nothing else, just to be a pain in the ass of the government. And you.
It's his favourite pastime now, annoying me.
Right, let's try this again.
Every time he walks past the chair, he gives it a rattle.
Oh, we're back on that one. Let's see how long it lasts this time. I like that one because it's a better picture. It's a clearer picture.
I was going to say, you're saying about using the one on the tripod, but you won't use that one because I'm not in it.
What one?
The one on the tripod.
No, that's the Canon. I can't wire that one up.
I know.
It won't work as a
You were
webcam.
saying earlier about using that one.
I mean, I have got other little cameras up there I could use as webcams, but they're nowhere near. They didn't even last 5 minutes this time. So we'll stick it out on that one. Yeah, last Friday it lasted all evening. Didn't have an issue with it. But current chest short breath is one of them. Yeah, it's one that I will mention to them, Beardy, if they don't mention it to me first. And I must admit, the consultants that I have got up there are pretty good. They are pretty on the ball. And I do get to see them when I need them. Touch wood. So, and a lot of the actual consultants I didn't know when I worked there. So it's not preferential treatment. That's depending on which secretary is on the desk when I get preferential treatment, or which nurse is treating me as well. That helps. But most of them know me up there. And the thing is, I don't usually wait that long for an appointment unless it's preset. I mean, for me blood tests and what have you, I can ring the secretary up in the morning, and I can be up there within an hour. At the very most, I'd have to wait till the following day. But that's the longest I've had to wait. The open clinics, yeah, that is a bit of a pain sometimes. I mean, I was up there for the whole bloody day a couple of weeks back because I actually went in with an issue. My GP sent me to A&E, or told me to go to A&E, didn't send me. And I had to wait around for quite a few hours on that with different things. But again, they fitted most of it in the day. I had a CT scan of my chest, a few other investigations. And it was all done on the day. It was just a lot of waiting. Obviously, if emergencies come in, they have to be seen first. I wasn't exactly an emergency. But they do know that if they fuck me around, I will walk out. I've done that before. Last time I started, the fatigue started to kick in. And I just told them, I said, look, if you can't find me somewhere to lay down while I'm waiting, then I'm going to have to call the missus to come and pick me up. I said, because I'm going to need to lay down and sleep. I said, you can wake me up when you need to talk to me. I said, but I can't sit in one of these uncomfortable chairs all day. And within 20 minutes, they come in, they'd found me a reclining chair, like the treatment chairs, and they put it in the corner so I could stretch out and fall asleep on that. Usually I have it prearranged. When I went to the QE for some special scans there, that's way over the other side of the hospital, the city, I had to actually get there by train, which was a bit of an experience in itself. I'd actually told them, look, I'm going to need a bed for the day, because they told me I'm going to be there for the day. I said, I'm going to need a bed or a trolley for the day. And they had one ready for me as soon as I walked in. That was when they nuked me blood. They took some blood out of me, nuked it, put it back in, so they could track it around the body in real time. I thought they were going to turn me into some sort of fucking superhero like Spider-Man, but it didn't happen. And normally to relax, I take me, I've got a digital radio that put the headphones in, but the radiology, the nuclear research department, as they call it over there. Of course, it's all shielded, so I couldn't get a fucking signal. So that was boring as fuck. But as Heather says, I never had any of these issues, even after the fire and that. I never had any of these issues until I moved to Birmingham. Good evening, Lodger. I mean, within the first few years, I ended up with a blood clot on the brain, and everything's kind of worked downhill from then. No, it's not long COVID, mate. Not long COVID. But there again, I've never been tested, so.
Hello, Lodger. Oh,
I joke with the nurses when any of them say, "Oh, have you had the COVID?" I'm like, "No, I've got Schrodinger's COVID. I've never been tested, so I could have it. I may have had it. I may not have had it." So I say, "Yeah, I'm Schrodinger's COVID. I've got it, and I haven't got it at the same time." Yeah, I never had a P. I did have some of the kits, Steve. The only things that got tested was some of the plants in here, the cat. I'm just using it for a joke. The chemist gave me them for free. I just saw them in there one day when I was picking up some of my prescriptions. I said, "Are they free?" She said, "Yes." So I grabbed a box. And I've still got 3 or 4 left upstairs, actually. I saw them the other day in a box up there in the loft. But every time I went into hospital, they'd, "Oh, we want to test you." No, thank you. When I used to go in for the treatment for the polycythemia during all that scaring times, they actually put me in what they call the hot room, which was great because I used to be in there on my own. Yeah, they always take my temperature when I go in anyway, Steve. Yeah, it is, Lodger. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's, people that got the normal flu. We lose, I think it was, what was it they said? 8 to 10,000 people a year that die from the winter flu, the annual flu. Mainly olds, and again, those with underlying conditions. And I've never had the flu jab either. I won't have it. If I have got the flu now and again, I used to get it once a year. Used to hit me for a few days, and that was it. No, I used to go to work with it usually. Just work through it. Just take a few painkillers, brain pills. But due to the some of my conditions and the meds I'm on, I am restricted on what medication I can take now, even over-the-counter stuff. I can't have antacids. It's on the list where I don't know why, but they just said I can't take them.
Lower your blood pressure.
Yeah, it's because it was all being diagnosed as something else, Steve. Those that had normal flu or colds, it was being diagnosed as COVID, wasn't it?
Everybody died of COVID.
We know that now. Even the doctors admit it now. So, but it is what it is. We've been through it. We know how much bullshit they threw around. We knew the narratives they were using. We knew how they spread the fear campaign. And, a lot of the jabs for things are still out there now. You can still go and get them if you want them. But as they know, they don't order as much because they know people won't take it anymore. People have realised what was going on.
Nobody wants it.
Nobody bothers anymore. Oh, there are one or two sheep, but even those are far and few between now. Their eyes are opening more and more. Yeah, and that's the thing, Roger. Anything they give you takes over from your own immune system. And that's where the issues start, because people are so mollycoddled nowadays. You know, I mean, you don't see kids up the woods playing like we used to and getting scratched and little infections and what have you like we used to back in the day. And that's what built our immune systems up. Yeah, you know, you used to cut your arm, you might get a bit of an infection in it, have a bit of penicillin, you were absolutely fine, but your body used to fight it itself as well. Nowadays, too many people are reliant on the medications to fight shit like that.
Nowadays, if you get a scratch, you've got to have an anti-tetanus.
Yeah, and a lot of the new tetanus ones are based on certain things now as well. Oh yeah, they a lot of the lines are still in place. They've still got arrows in some of the shops up here, and the footstep marks on the pavement outside in the pedestrian only area. You know, you can see bits like that all over the place. I've even seen some signs up still, you know, you got to wear a mask. It's something that we've been through, something that a lot of us are wiser for now, having been through it. One thing it did expose was the absolute level of corruption within the police. Yeah, we knew there was corruption in the government, and we didn't realise how much. And this is why I tried to follow the COVID inquiry. That exposed, basically, it proved what we were saying was right. When we were being told we were conspiracy theorists, we're spreading the fear, we're bad people. That COVID inquiry, or the sections they've had of it so far, have proved that we weren't. We were bang on. I mean, even stuff YouTube suspended me for and removed videos for has now been proved to be fact. You know, they weren't misinformation at all, as they said.
But you still have to be careful now.
Yeah, but we still have to be very careful what we say. Yeah, they're never going to lose money, Roger. We know that. You know, it's the old adage, isn't it? A patient cured is a customer lost. I mean, Pfizer have been going how many years? And they've never actually cured a disease since they've been going, apparently. You know, they can help with symptoms, but apparently they've never cured anything. And the fact that the government takes responsibility if they're sued for anything, I mean, that tells you a great deal, doesn't it? When a company like Pfizer and the others turned around and said, we want immunity from prosecution, you know, that's a big fucking red flag to me. A very big red flag. And again, as I said before, that's why the government changed the Damage by Vaccine Act 1976. They cut down and set a limit on the amount of compensation that you can claim. and they made it harder to claim that compensation. I don't quite know what the American governments do in that sort of area, because obviously in America suing is a big thing. That's where the suing culture basically started. And they do get bigger payouts over there. But I don't think they've got anything like our Damage by Vaccines Act. The Cancer Act of 1960, that is worldwide as far as I know. That's not just relevant to this country. I think that does cover America as well. But yeah, this 1976 one is ours and ours alone. And that was only put in place because of the compensation that was forked out over pandemics that was issued during the swine flu. Wasn't a pandemic, but it was a big outbreak. And again, I can't remember whether that one was tested again. I don't think it was. It was just one they slung together and put out. I'm just wondering how many people are going to turn their mobile phones off tonight instead of leaving them on. Honestly, that's the next thing.
Only people that have bought them in the last couple of months.
Well, yeah, they supplied all the Hezbollah ones. Was it 5 months ago? They bought them all together, the radios and the pages.
In 6 months, I should be sorry.
Oh God, I wouldn't even think that mine would be able to pick up the signals that they send out now. But
yeah, they don't send signals out on 2G anymore.
But it just shows how far in advance they will put things in place like that, isn't it? I mean, they were bought 5 months ago, and to get that many pages and radios doctored, that must have took them some time, because it all had to be done on the quiet somewhere. And then they had to get into the market inside of it to make sure they bought all them. It took a lot of work.
Mind you, didn't you say there was a politician or something that had one go off?
He was the Iranian, I think it was, ambassador. He actually had one of the Hezbollah's pager.
Yeah, but that in itself is strange.
Well, there you go. They're in collusion, you know. Don't forget, they were the ones that's been attacking Israel as well. You never know. Everybody's against everybody out there. They're all at each other's throats. It's fucking ridiculous. That's why I can't be bothered with it. Yeah, there's a lot of things, Steve. All right, Gary. Normal aspirins, paracetamol. I mean, I take aspirins as some of the regime that I use, the dispersible ones. But I can't take Nurofen. I'm not allowed to take Nurofen and stuff like that.
Because it affects the blood pressure.
Because that affects blood pressure. That's all right, Gary. We wouldn't hear you go bang from here anyway, would we?
Evening, Gary. Which is a freshly escaped carrot. Yeah, it just makes it look a bit more balanced rather than bold on the top and a lot round the sides, you know. And I don't get as many hairs in my food with the whiskers. You know, bald all over.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the issues as well, Steve. Because officially, yeah, the doctors and the consultant, especially my haematologist, knew I was smoking it. I've always told them that. It was on my medical records. And they've compensated for the fact that I've given it up. So, and they do inquire regularly, you know, are you still off it and what have you, if there's a bit of a discrepancy. My biggest problem, the blood pressure is literally for the strokes. That's why they want to keep that under control. The other problem with my blood is the red blood cells. I've got what's called too many fat red blood cells, and that's what causes the problems with my eyes, muscles, and that sort of thing. It's almost like a blood cancer. It's one step down. You can get the same thing, and one type of it can be cancerous and the other isn't. And I've got the one that isn't, luckily enough. But what they do is control it by taking blood out of me. That it's not thinning of the blood, but it's reducing the amount of red blood cells, because they can't separate the white and the red cells in the plasma when they're taking it out of you. They just take it as whole blood. It's a bit like donating blood, but sometimes it can be weekly if it gets real bad, because they can only take a certain amount at a time, obviously. If it's real bad, then it could be like 2 or 3 weeks, every week go in. At the moment, they're doing it on roughly a 3 monthly basis. It depends on the blood tests. If I start feeling any of the symptoms real bad, then I just ring the secretary up there, and they have me straight in for a blood test. If the count goes above, I think it's 5.2, then they have me in, or they'll do a venous section, the treatment there and then. If it's at a normal level, then they don't bother until my next test. But I don't drink alcohol anymore, Gary. I gave that up years ago. That might be the problem. Maybe the alcohol was keeping my blood thin enough, and then once I stopped drinking, that was causing the issues.
There you go, you see.
Yeah, it's something to think about. Yeah, I am glad I've done it, Steve. I've been meaning to do it for a long time, and the fact that we were doing it together helped a lot.
But I've always said we needed to do it at the same time, or it was never going to work.
It would never work if one of us tried to do it. And the other advantage is, with everything that's going on today, it's not a financial strain, because when you smoke the amount we did, it was costing quite a bit of money.
Well, the main reason we could do it was because we got duty frees coming in, and when those stopped, that was it. It was time to call it a day.
Just keep a little leech farm, save me going to the hospital. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
You can still get prescribed medical leeches, actually. They breed them in lakes down in Kent, I think it is. Because there's certain species that they use. We used to buy them for fishing bait. They can be very good fishing bait, but not the medical ones. They do make quite a good fishing bait at some places. Let's see. We used to get ours duty free, Stuart. We had a family member that was travelling abroad several times a week. But luckily enough, we packed up. He doesn't do that anymore, but we packed up before he stopped doing it. We do have a corner shop, but he doesn't sell cheap ones.
There are some around, but you've got to know and be known.
I mean, I do. When I was working at the hospital, I had a contact up there where I always used to get cheap tobacco. But the trouble is now a lot of the cheap stuff that's about, even the tailor-mades, they're all counterfeit. And they're the worst ones. They're worse than normal ciggies to smoke, the counterfeit ones. I had a packet of tobacco here we tried one night when we were smoking. And I just looking at it, I'm like, nah. It was full of the white fluffy stuff and bits of material, wood chips and all sorts. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to like that. Yeah, that would be the thing, Beardy, wouldn't it? You go out and say, guess what? I get sucked off every morning. You know, you just don't mention that they're leeches. Take greaseproof paper off the cover. Gary, you're not right between the ears, you. I'm sure of it. Yeah, but the other thing with them, Beardy, is feeding them when I don't need any treatment, and they've got to get blood from somewhere. I'm not going to go out and stick them on strangers, like. I mean, yeah, I've told him at the hospital I'm more than capable of putting a needle in myself and taking it out if they wanted. You know, I know even now I can put a cannula in, no problem at all. But
you're not.
They won't let me. My little nurse freaked out up there last time when she caught me injecting myself with Clexane. When I was actually in hospital, I was having daily Clexane injections. And she turned her back one day talking to another nurse and left it in the little tray on her trolley. And I just grabbed it and injected myself with it and put the empty syringe back in the tray. She was not happy, but she did promise not to report me. So. Yeah, a lot of people do, Stu. I mean, bloody hell, when I went to the Canaries, I came back with a bloody holdall full of it. Luckily enough, they never checked. But that was a ridiculous price back then. It was dirt cheap. You know, I was getting 10 packs for something like $5, I think it was. So for the 10 days I was out there, every day I went to the supermarket, I bought a pack of 10. It's newspaper, Steve. They're not allowed to wrap anything in newspaper. That's why you can't get your fish and chips in newspaper anymore. Oh, pardon me. Bloody hell, that's 9:30. I'm doing a bit better this week. My eyes are starting to go, but I'm all right at the moment. It's when I can't see the comments, that's when I know it's time to quit. And this will be my last can of the fizzy stuff tonight. I'll take my glass of orange up to the bedroom later on. Used to get a pack for Chunty, Lambert and Butler, £2. Yeah, I used to get the tobacco beardy. I used to get 10 packs of, tobacco at a time. And literally, that was a few years ago, mind. It was about £5 or £6 in the supermarkets on the Canary Islands at Fuerteventura.
Yeah.
Embassy 89p.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember saying I was going to give up when cigarettes went to £1 a packet.
Yeah. You know, I can remember when you could get them in wraps of 5.
Yes, we know.
Yeah, a lot of them used to come back from Germany, so a lot of them. And this was one of the things that pissed me off with the EU. Oh, yeah, you know, free trade, this, that, and the other. Yet we weren't allowed to bring back what we wanted.
Well, no, because the government couldn't tax them.
No. Number 6 we'll listen to, Bob.
Yeah. 10 number 6 and a box of matches.
Yeah. No, I can remember you used to get 5, I think they were Woodbines, 5 Woodbines wrapped in paper. They weren't even packets of 10, they were just 5 wrapped up. But I remember as a kid, my mum used to buy me them over in Ireland when we used to go over there for holiday. And I always used to bring back Sweet Afton or major extra size. A couple of packs of each to last me. Although Ireland was always... What's that on the floor down there? Ireland was always a bit more expensive because of the extra tax over there in Southern Ireland. Yeah, I smoked the extra size. They were short, but they were fatter. For the 1980s, I'd been smoking for nearly 15 years, at least 15 years by then, Stuart. I started smoking in, it was the early 70s. I was only 12. My mum caught me stealing fags out of her handbag because she used to smoke, and she said she'd rather buy them for me than me steal them and smoke behind her back. She'd rather buy them and I smoke them in front of her.
Well, at least that way.
Hi, Bailey.
At least that way, when she went to have one, there was one there for her to have.
Well, exactly. Yeah, she knew exactly how many were in the pack at any given time. I was never forced like that. I mean, the old man did buy me a cigar once, saying if you can puff through that, then you can smoke. And so I smoked it and asked him to buy me another one. The one that nearly made me give up was my uncle. He used to smoke a pipe, and he used to buy his tobacco in a block. And he used to sit there with his little knife, scraping it off and loading his pipe. And he gave me some of that to chew and smoke, and that did make me fucking ill.
Steve, there was quite a few cigarette makers that sold them in 25s.
Yeah.
Just Rothmans.
You used to get odd numbers in them in the machines as well, didn't you? At times they'd either be short and you paid the full price, or you got extra and there was a couple of coins taped to the packet.
Yeah.
Old Alban did both, Stuart. They actually did both. But that used to be my preferred one when I started smoking the Rollies, was Old Alban. I liked the dark. I didn't like Virginia tobacco. And towards the end, just before we give up, I was smoking drum because it was cheaper. If he ate a whole kilo of certain white powder, Steve, I wouldn't have thought he'd have done anything again. But the Sweet Afton that I used to bring back from Ireland, they were non-tipped. Lost souls, hello, sweetheart.
Hello, stranger.
Oh, yeah, here we go. That's only got 20 minutes or so to go. So. That's nice to see you, Holly. I know you've been on Facebook. I keep up with you on Facebook.
We need to do a get together. We need to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't heard much from Dan, in person lately. I've only been in contact with him through Face8.
Tell me when's good, Holly, and I'll come to you.
Park Drive were the non-tips in Ireland. Well, most popular. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you can even still get Sweet Afton. Ah, that's all right, Holly. It's not an issue. We know you're there. If I don't see that you've posted anything and Heather does, we let each other know, oh, Holly's on, Holly's about.
And we keep everybody else informed because they also...
Yeah, everybody asks. There was somebody asked tonight how you and Dan were. So, you've been posting on Facebook, so you're alive. Me, I'm not too sure about, but there you go. We always there's a lot of people out there ask Holly, a lot of people. I get asked in the comments on my videos as well. I had 1 or 2 emails. Same with dear old Resist. People keep asking about him. He's slowly getting better now. He actually did a live, I think, the other night.
He did.
I missed it, but
I didn't.
No, you won, and that's how I knew he'd been on.
Yeah.
And he's popped in Heather's live on a Friday on the odd occasion. But that's what it's all about in these communities, And this is why I like a small community. It's easier to keep in touch and keep up with people. I mean, Graham's been having a lot of issues with YouTube. They keep deleting his comments for some reason. So, I keep in touch with him with email. He doesn't do WhatsApp or anything like that, or Facebook. But it is getting more and more difficult now with the censorship. You've got to really, really be careful or think about what you say before you say it. You can't just blurt things out like you used to.
Or your paper
you can, but luckily enough, touch wood, the times when I have, I've got away with it. But yeah, some of the MPs now, fucking idiots, are like, oh no, we want to do away with social media altogether.
marriage
But
don't.
then, no, some of the others, they're like, well, why would you want to do away with it? It's the only place you'll see the truth because you don't see it from mainstream. But it is actually nice the fact that Starmer is fucking up so much and showing their true colours, and the fact that mainstream media are actually pointing it out. That's opening a lot of people's eyes. You know, so some of the mainstream media channels, I wouldn't say they've turned against the government, but they're not frightened of putting stuff out that ordinarily they wouldn't have done. Let's put it that way. Stalin, yeah. Herr Gruppenführer, as I call him. Kitty starver. Killer of the olds. But, you know, there is a lot of scaremongering over this, over the winter fuel payment for pensioners. You know, it's like I've said, and other people have said as well, pensioners have seen a lot harder times. But there again, they keep saying, but we're putting pensions up. Yeah, but that's being soaked up by the cost of living. So they're no better off.
But just because they've been through it before doesn't mean they need to go through it again.
There's a lot of them now that have got more and more underlying conditions than they used to have. You know? And another problem is they haven't got as many people to look after them now, sadly. You know? £221 a week, yeah. You know, when you think a pensioner gets less than an MP can get in a day just by turning up in Parliament, an MP will get more in a day than they will in a week just for turning up. That's without their wages. You know, that's why I said earlier on about their salaries and what they earn. It's, you know, especially with the Prime Minister getting paid twice, getting paid once for not actually doing anything, just being a Prime Minister or being in the position. And then he gets a salary for the work he does on top. Nah, that's just wrong. Very wrong. Yeah, not everybody gets anywhere near that.
Most people working can't claim expenses.
I do,
travel, let alone anything else.
In a way, kind of agree with the means testing on it. Especially these people that get final salary pensions.
There are pensioners out there that do need to pay tax because they're earning a stupid amount of money,
yeah,
and do not need the help with the cold weather payment, but their cut-off that they have drawn is just in the wrong place.
Yeah, Beardy. I mean, you look at that, the one that got booed out the pub, chased out the pub the other day that I put the clip up of. Now, she stood there, what was her name? Baker for Aldershot. And she stood there and was interviewed afterwards saying, but I do my work, you know, we work for the people of the area, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, did you vote for the removal of the pensioners' payment? If you didn't vote, then that's as good as a vote for removing it. I don't remember seeing her name as someone who was against it. And so obviously she's not working for the locals, and the locals don't want her, otherwise they wouldn't have chased her out the bloody pub. This is the thing. It's like when I was on a low wage originally up the hospital. I didn't realise I could claim tax credits. I was told about it, so I applied for it. And I couldn't get it because I earned 14 pence a month over the limit. 14 pence. So I couldn't get any tax credits. You know, it's petty. It really is. You know, people provided their own pensions and got private pensions to literally top up their state pensions so they could live a better life. Doesn't mean to say they shouldn't get everything that's due them. You know, they've paid into the system. They should get exactly the same as anybody else.
Shouldn't need pension credit.
No.
The state pension should be a reasonable amount to live on.
Yeah. And my biggest beef with them has always been, you apply for benefits, you need 20 grand a year to live on. So why do the pensioners only get 11 or 13, whatever it is? You know, you're telling us you need this amount, but you won't pay that amount. As I've always said, they'll give it with one hand and they'll take it back with the other. Doesn't matter what level you're at. But these final salary pensions and like the Prime Minister's protected 100,000 a year pension, you'll get that no matter what, lifelong. I mean, that's no.
But when he retires, he'll bring back the winter payment, so he's got an extra couple of bob.
Same as the expats, lost souls. You know, they're all buggered off to Spain and places like that. They were still drawing their pensions. And I believe some of them were still claiming rent as well, even. I'll bring back Rishi. No. But there again, you know, I said that, Sunak was bad. But if Labour get in, it's going to be a whole lot worse. And I was right. You know, and if you look at what they're doing now, like I said earlier, you know, they're talking about assisted dying again for people that are ill, pensioners. I mean, in Canada, they even offer it to veterans that are perfectly healthy. Oh, you're living on the streets, but you ain't got nothing. Well, if you want it, you know, we'll let you have it. Is it going to get like that here? They just want to do away with anybody that isn't contributing anymore. The fact that you've already done your bit, you've already paid in for 50 odd years, is irrelevant. You're not putting anything into it now, so they don't want you to have anything out of it. You're a drain on society. They seem to forget the ones that now are drawing pensions. It was their money that built this fucking country after the war. If it weren't for the people paying taxes after the war, yes, America's loans went a long way towards it. But those are the people that they're persecuting now, are the ones that paid to rebuild this fucking country. And I find that absolutely disgusting.
Well, the reason people paid national insurance was it was paid into a pot to be their pension later on in life. And now the government is saying, we spent that, you can't fucking have it.
It's a benefit. It's not like a savings anymore. It's a benefit now. You know, to be treated like that at their age, I find that absolutely fucking disgusting. I really do. It's like anything. They all want respect from us, but they won't give us any respect back. Yeah, exactly, Brian. Good evening, by the way. I know you always pop in near the end. Exactly, mate. You know, I mean, the fact that back then these people gave their lives to repel a heavily armed and a heavily trained army. They turned them back. They fought against them. They died to fight against them. Now they're falling over themselves to let an unarmed army just fucking walk in the door. Yeah. The world's gone fucking crazy. It really has. You got to be careful what you sign over to your kids, Gary. You can get penalised heavily, or well, you won't, but they will. Be very, very careful what you sign over to them, especially property. It can end up costing them a lot of money. Yeah, no worries, Brian. I know you're always in the background there, mate. I know you're there. You and we one, both of you normally just drop in the last 10 minutes, usually on the lives, and that's what we're into now. I have actually lasted till 10 o'clock, which I'm quite surprised at, to be honest. Yeah, exactly, Beardy. I mean, literally the far right in this country, there are them there, but branding everybody that is against what they're doing far right, that's just ridiculous. You know, we're not far right. I wouldn't even say a lot of us actually lean to the right. I certainly don't dress to the right because I don't meet to see him in the middle. But no, I'm. My allegiance isn't to anything like that. My respect is to those that went before me, because they're the ones that have allowed me to live the life that I've had up until now, because of them. Yeah, totally out of order, Stuart. Totally out of order. Right, is anybody, we're in the last few minutes now, anybody going to make any predictions on what the next bit of tech is due to explode before the weekend? God, can you imagine if they had actually got away with putting chips in people's heads? Think where that could lead. Fuck, that doesn't even bear thinking about, does it?
According to Donna, it's washing machines.
Yeah. Yeah, only because hers is blown up. Dildos. I will put that down to internal affairs, Holly. Internet routers, yes, that is a possibility. I mean, we know they can crash computers, can't they, Brian? Yeah, exactly, Beardy. Exact vapes, yeah. Just the fluids they put in them will do that, Steve. Yep. You think about hacking. This is why. There she is. Oh, yeah, wee one. Dildos the next time.
You're going to go out with a bang.
Yeah, definitely go out with a bang. But you know, being serious, you think about it. They want AI. They want AI to run the NHS. They want AI and tech to run everything. Yet they're telling us probably in 5-6 years we won't have any electricity. So what good is all that? Everything will just stop working. No, I've got to admit they're even looking at withdrawing the banning of petrol vehicles, aren't they? Because they realise that's not working now. Same as you can't really get a brand new petrol car now until next year because they've sold more than the quota, and the manufacturers will start getting fined.
Oh,
yeah, I predicted the future just the wrong way around. Well, do you know what, Steve? It sounds really weird, but a lot of what is happening at the moment, I predicted some time back. And I've got the videos to prove that I did. I've got an external hard drive there where I've kept every single one of my videos. And there's a lot that I said that has actually come out and is actually happening. Same as Orwell. You know, there are a lot of similarities now between the fiction of 1984 to what is happening now. No, it won't work, Holly. The infrastructure ain't there. If everybody that drives had an electric car, the grid would just go into meltdown straight away. First night when everybody gets home from work, the grid would just go into fucking meltdown. And that's why a lot of building projects were cancelled in London. As I've said, I found out it's because the National Grid and other services said they can't supply them. They can't supply them with the realistic services that they want. Mossad lithium, yeah. Well, you saying that, Gary? Think about Tesla in America more so than anywhere else. The car's telling them what to do, and the cars are even killing people. Yeah, you know yourself, Brian. Everything I do, I put on my external hard drives. I don't trust the clouds and stuff like that. Well, this is one that they were. I'm going well over 10 o'clock now. This is one thing that they were talking about, Ollie, with the NHS going with AI. So they can inform people in advance, oh, you're eating too much of this. You're eating, say, I'd use sugar, for example. You're using too much sugar. We need you to cut down on sugar. Now, that AI would be linked to your credit scoring, your cashless dealings. So basically, the NHS could say, right, you're at risk of getting diabetes in 5 years' time with the level of your sugar you're drinking. Boom, they'll shut you down and you won't be able to buy the sugar. That's how it will work. They won't tell you that, but that's how it will work. Yeah, we won. And I've always said that. That's why they can't implement any of that without a cashless society. They've got to have that cashless society in to take control of what they want to. I mean, they're going to have some computer saying, oh, you're going to have cancer in 10 years' time. How does that fucking know? And this is one of the dangers of AI, as I've always said. Yes, it's got its fun uses, and it will have viable medical uses, I'd have thought. But it will be used for anything but once the government start getting hold of it. You know, when people like Elon Musk turns around and says it could be very dangerous. All right, Steve. Yeah, I agree. We do need a certain amount of immigration into the country. Every country does. But legal, not the ones that we're getting now. If they want to come in, they've got to bring something worth having, which most of them don't. Well, the insurance companies will start surviving on medical insurance, Scar, because that's the way they want it to go. They want everybody to have medical insurance. I said the other day, Stuart, we're heading for our first frost here. Crumbs. Heather's been saying that with me for a long time, Molly. Yeah, exactly where you want. Exactly. And this is the other thing that screwed the NHS up, isn't it? You know, we took on loads and loads from abroad that were, highly qualified doctors, surgeons. But as soon as they started paying too much tax, or their own country was starting to pay more in wages, the brain drain fucked off out of the country. And that's what they're doing with the finances now. They want to hit everybody that's into finance, anybody that's earning big bucks. They're expecting them to take the hit, which, you should pay on the amount you earn, but no extra as far as I'm concerned, unless you've had a windfall. So they're all fucking off out of the country and taking the money with them. And people are stopping investing in this country. Yeah, exactly, Scar. Exactly. And then you're into the Skynet scenario, aren't you? Terminator, where the machines take over. Which technically, if let loose and it gets self-aware and intelligent enough, that could actually happen. Yeah, we went, and a lot of them are agency as well. You know, and an agency, they could $2,000 a bloody shift. Although the nurse or whatever wouldn't get that. But that's what the agency charges the NHS. Yeah, I'm going to wind it up now anyway, Gary. So my eyes are starting to play tricks again. But anyway, it's been a brilliant night again. Thank you, everybody. We still got 20 odd in here. Look, bloody hell. As always, everybody's been very respectful. I'm always grateful for that. It means we don't have to do any modding, which is nice. We have put the world to rights as usual. Yeah, not everybody's agreed on everything, but there again, you don't have to. That's what makes the world go around. If everybody agreed on everything, the world would be a very boring place, wouldn't it?
And you need some different ideas because they may be better than yours. Exactly. I've got plenty of ideas, but there's a lot of people out there that have better ideas than me. And you need people to look at things from a different angle. And that's how you find the truth in things. So in that respect, I will say thank you very much, guys, for an excellent night. Where can I buy a cheap pager? I don't know if you will anymore. But with that, guys, I will say good night.
Don't forget, at the moment, Mrs. W's live from Friday night is still on. And I very, very much doubt there'll be a video from me tomorrow. If there is, it will be probably later on in the day. But as we say, as always, stay safe, stay strong. Don't fear what they say. The only thing to fear is fear itself. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
Take care, guys. Stay safe out there.